Good day, sir. I am Apora Ain, and my topic is about predictions, intervals, and tolerance interval, chapter 5.9. A confidence interval for a parameter such as a population mean is an interval that is likely to contain the true value of the parameter. In contrast, prediction and tolerance intervals are concerned with the population itself and with values that may be sampled from it in the future. Predictions interval and tolerance interval are useful only when the shape of the population is known. The method we present here, which are the most commonly used, are valid only when the population is known to be normal. Predictions interval. A prediction interval is an interval that is likely to contain the value of an item sampled from a population at a future time. In other words, we predict that a value that is yet to be sampled from the population will fall within the prediction interval. We illustrate with an example. Assume that silicon content has been measured for a sample of 5 steel beams and that the sample mean is equals to 0.26 with a sample standard deviation of 0.05. Assume further that the silicon content in this type of beam is normally distributed. At some future time, we will observe the silicon content Y of some other beam, and we wish to construct an interval that will contain the value of Y with probability of 0.95. To see how this is done, let men and variance denote the mean and standard deviation of normal to population of silicon content. Then Y distributed in times means and variance squared. And since the sample size is n equals 5 and the sample mean distributed times mean and variance squared over 5, the difference y minus sample mean is therefore normally distributed with mean 0 and variance squared times 1 plus 1 over 5. It follows that y minus sample mean over variance square root of 1 plus 1 over 5 is distributed in is times 0 and 1. Approximating variance with standard deviation, we find that y minus sample mean over standard deviation square root of 1 plus 1 over 5 has a student t distribution with 5 minus 1 is equal to 4 degrees of freedom. From the student t table, we find that 95% of area under t curve with 4 degrees of freedom is contained between the values negative 2.776 and 2.776. It follows that p times negative 2.776 is less than to 1 minus sample mean over standard deviation square root of 1 plus 1 over 5 is greater than to 2.776 is equals to 0.95. Performing some algebra, we obtain p times sample mean minus 2.776 as square root of 1 plus 1 over 5 is less than 2y but greater than to sample mean plus 2.776 as square root of 1 plus 1 over 5 is equals to 0.95. Generalizing the procedure just described, 100 times minus alpha percent prediction is interval based on a sample size and is given by x plus minus the t critical value with n minus 1 degrees of freedom and upper tail area alpha over 2 multiplied by s times the square root of 1 plus 1 over n. In summary, let x1 to xn be a sample from a normal population. Let y be the another item to be sampled from this population, whose value has not been observed. A 100 times 1 over alpha percent projection interval for y is sample plus or minus the t critical value with n minus 1 degrees of freedom and upper tail probability alpha over 2 multiplied by s times the square root of 1 plus 1 over n. And we have example 5.29. A sample of 10 concrete blocks manufactured by a certain process had a mean compressive strength of sample mean equals to 1312 MPa with a standard deviation of 25 MPa or megapascal. Find a 95% projection interval for the strength of block whose strength has yet to be measured. And here is the process. And we have the given of sample size is equals to n, sample mean equals to 1312 megapascal, sample standard deviation is equal to 25 megapascal, and our confidence level is 95%. And our goal is to find a 95% prediction interval for the strength of a single future observation. By solving this, we need to understand first the prediction interval formula. And here is the formula of prediction interval. Sample mean plus or minus the t critical value with n minus 1 degrees of freedom and upper tail area alpha over 2 multiplied by s times the square root of 1 plus over n. Second step is we need to find the t critical value and the degrees of freedom. Our degrees of freedom is equals to n minus 1, which n is equals to 10 and we minus 1 is equals to 9. And that is our degrees of freedom. From t distribution table, we conclude that t critical value is equals to 2.262. And the next step is we need to plug in the values to our formula. So our sample mean is equals to 1312 plus minus to our critical t critical value, which is 2.262 times standard deviation times the square root of 1 plus 1 over 10 is equals to 10 is equals to 1312 plus minus 59.39. And our prediction interval is the minimum of 1252.66 megapascal and the maximum of 1371.34 megapascal. And that is our final answer. Comparison of prediction interval and confidence interval. The formula for the prediction interval is similar to that for a confidence interval for the mean of a normal population. In fact, the prediction interval can be obtained from the confidence interval by replacing the expression s square root 1 over n with s square root 1 plus 1 over n. The quantity 1 over n under the square root reflects the uncertainty and sample mean as an estimator of the population mean, and is present in both confidence interval and prediction interval. The quantity 1 under the square root in the prediction interval reflects the uncertainty in the value of sampled item that is to be predicted. Note that since 1 is larger than 1 over n, most of the width of the prediction interval is due to the variability in the value to be predicted. For this reason, the prediction interval is much wider than the confidence interval. Increasing the sample size affects the confidence interval and prediction interval in different ways as well. As the sample size gets larger, the width of a level 100 times 1 minus alpha percent confidence interval, which is t sub n minus 1 alpha over 2 times s times the square root of 1 over n, shrink to 0. In contrast, the width of level 100 times 1 minus alpha percent confidence interval is t sub n minus 1 alpha over 2 times s square root of 1 plus 1 over n. As n becomes larger, t sub n minus 1 alpha over 2 becomes close to z sub a sub alpha over 2. S become close to variance, and 1 plus 1 over n becomes close to 1. The width of the prediction interval therefore becomes close to z sub variance over 2 times variance. This reflects the fact that there is always uncertainty in the value of an item to be sampled from a population, even if there is no uncertainty about the population itself. One-sided projection intervals. One-sided projection interval can be computed by a method analogous to that for computing one-sided confidence intervals. Let x1 to xn be a sample from a normal population. Let y be the another item to be sampled from this population, whose value has not been observed. A 100 times 1 minus alpha. Upper projection band for y is sample mean plus t sub n minus 1 alpha times s times square root of 1 plus 1 over n, and a level 100 times 1 minus alpha percent. Lower prediction band for y is sample mean minus t sub n minus 1 and variance times standard deviation square root of 1 plus 1 over n. Projection interval are sensitive to departures from normality. The method presented here for computing projection interval is sensitive to assumption that population is normal. If the shape of population differs from much from the normal curve, the projection interval may be misleading. For this reason, projection interval must be interpreted with caution. Large sample do not help no matter how large the sample is. The projection interval will not be valid unless the population is normal. Tolerance interval for a normal population. A tolerance interval is an interval that is likely to contain a specified proportion of the population. The method we present here, which is the one most commonly used, requires that the population be normal. To illustrate the idea, first assume that we have a normal population whose mean and standard deviation are known. If we wish to find the interval that contains 90% of this population, we can do so exactly. The interval mean plus minus 1.645 variance contains 90% of population In general, the interval mean plus minus z sub y over 2 times variance will contain 100 times 1 minus y of the population. In practice, we do not know mean and variance. Instead, we have a sample size and we estimate mean with the sample mean and variance with the sample standard deviation. This estimation has two consequences. First, we must make the interval wider than it would be if mean and variance were known. Second, we cannot be 100% confident that the interval actually contains the required proportion of the population. To construct a tolerance interval, therefore, we must specify the proportion 100 times 1 minus y of the population that we wish the interval to contain, along with the level of confidence 100 times 1 minus alpha that the interval actually contains the specified proportion. It is then possible to find number k sub n and alpha and y such that the interval sample mean plus minus k sub n alpha y times s will contain at least 100 times 1 minus y of the population with confidence 100 times 1 minus alpha. Values of k sub n alpha y are presented in table A4 for various values of a and y and sample. In summary, let x1 to xn be a sample from a normal population. A tolerance interval containing at least 100 times 1 minus y of the population with confidence 100 times 1 over alpha I minus alpha is sample mean plus minus k sub n alpha y times s. Of all the tolerance interval that are computed by this method, 100 times 1 minus alpha will actually contain at least 100 times 1 minus y of the population. And we have the example 5.30. The length of the bolts manufactured by a certain process are known to be normally distributed. In a sample of 30 bolts, the average length was 10.25 cm with a standard deviation of 0.20 cm. Find a tolerance interval that includes 90% of the length of the bolts with 95% confidence. So here is the process. First, we need to find the given. Our given is the sample size, which is 30. Sample mean equals to 10.25 cm. Our sample standard deviation is equal to 0.20 cm. And our confidence level 1 minus alpha is equals to 95%. And our proportion of population to be covered is equals to 90%. So, first step is we need to use the two-sided tolerance interval formula. The tolerance interval formula is equals to sample mean plus minus k times standard deviation. Step 2, we need to plug in the values. Tolerance interval equals to 10.25 plus minus 2.296 times 0.20 is equals to 10.25 plus minus 0.4592. And our final answer is equals to 9.7908 cm and 10.7092 cm. The next topic is 5.10 using simulation to construct confidence interval. And let us move on to the summary of this topic. Given a random sample x1 to xn from population with mean, a bootstrap confidence interval for mean with level approximately 100 times 1 minus alpha can be computed as follows. First, draw a large number m times m's greater or equal 1000 of bootstrap samples of size in with replacement from x1 to xn. Second is compute the mean of each bootstrap sample. Denote this bootstrap mean by sample mean asterisk sub 1 to sample mean asterisk sub m. Compute the 100 alpha times alpha over 2 and the 100 times 1 minus alpha over 2 percentiles of the bootstrap mean. Denote these values sample mean asterisk sub alpha over 2 and sample mean asterisk sub 1 minus alpha over 2. And the last is there are two methods for computing the confidence interval. First method is sample mean asterisk sub alpha over 2 and sample mean asterisk sub 1 minus alpha over 2. And the method 2 is 2 times sample mean minus sample mean asterisk sub 1 minus alpha over 2 and 2 times sample mean minus sample mean asterisk alpha over 2. And we have example 5.31. The length and the width of a rectangle are measured as x equals to 3.0 plus minus of 0.1 and y is equals to 3.5 plus minus 0.2 centimeter respectively. Assume that the measurement come from normal population are unbiased. Assume the standard deviation is equals to 0.1 and assume that the standard deviation x is equals to 0.1 and the standard deviation y is equals to 0.2 are known. Find 95% confidence interval for the area of rectangle. We are asked to find a 95% confidence interval for the area of a rectangle, where length is equals to 3.0 plus minus 0.1 centimeter, with standard deviation of x is equals to 0.1 centimeter, and we have width y equals to 3.5 plus minus 0.2 centimeter with standard deviation of y equal to 0.2 centimeter. Assume x and y are independent and normally distributed. So, to the process, we have step 1 is we need to define the area. The area of the rectangle is equals to A area equals to x times y. We want the mean and standard deviation of A, then build a confidence interval. Step 2. Find the mean of A. Since A is equals to E times x times y is equals to EX times EY because x and y are independent. So our mean A is equals to 3.0 times 3.5 is equals to 10.5 centimeters squared. So step 3 is we need to find the variance of A. When A is equals to x times y and x and y are independent, the variance of product is bar A is equals to EX squared times bar y plus EY squared times bar x plus bar x times bar y. Substitute EX equals to 3.0, EY is equals to 3.5. Standard deviation x is equals to 0.1 is 2 bar x is equals to 0.01. And the standard deviation y is equals to 0.2 to bar y is equals to 0.04. Bar A is equals to 3.0 squared times 0.04 plus 3.5 squared times 0.01 plus 0.01 times 0.04 is equals to 9 times 0.04 plus 12.25 times 0.01 plus 0.004 is equals to 0.36 plus 0.1225 plus 0.004 is equals to 0.4829. So our standard deviation A is equals to square root of 0.4829 or equal to 0.6949. And our step 4 is contrast the 95% confidence interval. Assuming normality that A plus minus z sub alpha over 2 times standard variance A for 95% confidence level z 0.025 is equals to 1.96. So 10.5 plus minus 1.96 times 0.6949 is equals to 10.5 plus 1 plus minus 1.361. And that is our final answer.